Welcome back to Buckle Up. We are your big drag entertainment, education, all wrapped into one, making these drags fun and interesting. And I'm sure my next guest will be one of the most anticipated interviews of the whole week. So, Hailey Kinsel, thank you so much for making time. Tell me how your week's going so far.
Thanks. It's been fun. It's really nice to be able to just come up and check in exhibition the day before and not have to be gone from home too long. So I ran today and I run again in the morning, and then I'm one and done. I brought one colt up here for the futurity, and no, you have to hush. And my dog, who's very loud and obnoxious, and that's it. So it's a nice and easy little trip away from home for me.
Tell me about the colt that you're running. He's got a pretty cool backstory with you and your family.
Thanks. He's special. I ran his mom. His mom was my first fast horse, and I ran her all through junior high and high school. We bought her, and she was off the track, so she was a little bit wild. We bought her when she was 11. She belonged to some family friends, and their daughter had started her and run her a little bit, and was kind of doing other things in life. So she was just sitting, and it was about that time. I think I was 11 or 12 myself, and we were wanting to start youth rodeoing a little more seriously. I'd always rode, but never had a barrel horse. I had just ranch horses that we'd rode, and my mom was always training some colts or something, but we wanted something that I could ride that'd be a little faster. So we got her and had to do some bringing back down to earth with her, but she's that horse that made me love barrel racing, because I learned what speed was, I learned how hard it could be, and I learned what winning was, and I think all those things are really important to teach you, like, oh yeah, you're gonna love this, or you're not. And so for me, that was that time period in my life. I was a junior high age girl, and I said, this is it, gave up everything else to ride that mare. She was that kind of special. So her name was Josie. I bred Josie 3 times. So I ran her all the way through high school and won a bunch on her just in the youth rodeo ranks. We kind of stuck to that. I did all the other events, so we stayed there, and some of the big barrel races, and we had success at those too. But I bred her 3 times, and I have a 6-year-old, and then Scooter is the Raise Your Smoothie horse that I'm on here. He's 5, and have a 3-year-old that I was able to sell back to her original owner, who she came from. So that's been really cool too. Yeah.
Thank you for giving us the rundown. I bet it is so special to be able to compete on one that you've known their entire lives and that you and your family have been so involved in. This is a different kind of game. I mean, we're used to seeing you kicking butt at rodeos, but you did have some experience at futurities. I've kind of heard those stories about taking sister to some of those early events. What do you appreciate about the futurities, and what do you enjoy about these kinds of things?
I love going to the futurities. I love watching so many good horses developing. It's encouraging to watch them do well as watch them have some runs that are, not ideal. And I say that because we all have those with every horse that you're training or that you're just learning how to ride. You have the good ones and you have the not so good ones, and they happen. And it kind of puts some realness to it to see it in person. So yeah, sister was my first futurity horse, the one to take and enter, and she had some real bad ones and she had some real good ones, and I got to taste both sides of it. And then I've got to take everything we have is ours, but my mom and I's 2 mares that are Corona Cartel bred to the futurities, and mostly went to the summer ones up north. So I've been to a lot of different ones, not necessarily the same ones every year due to my schedule, but got to dabble in them and learn from them, and place at them or have terrible luck and have it all fall apart, and just learn to enjoy all the parts of it. And this is my first pink buckle event. Scooter's the first horse I have had eligible. He's by a smooth guy, so I was excited to get to come here. And I knew he wasn't real competitive yet. He's pretty green, but to be able to come and run at this kind of money that pays out a lot of different levels, that was a goal to have him ready to come here. And just knowing what kind of event this was, it's the kind of thing you want to be a part of. So it's just one of those futurities I put up there on my list of ones I wanted to make.
Well, we're so happy that was kind of a one that you were really excited to get him ready for. It's clear to me, and I think to everybody who sees you, that you love this. I mean, you love the sport of barrel racing. You love horses. You have a genuine love for these animals. And developing young horses is part of that. And you mentioned it's a rocky process sometimes. It's very rewarding. But I'd love to know just what young horses do you have coming up through the ranks right now, and where's everybody at, and what are you excited about for the future?
Thanks. Yeah, they're so awesome, and they're such patient animals because, you know, young horses for me, they're still teaching me how to train and how to do this and how to do it right and what's wrong, and how to, you know, be determined to train well and keep them honest and correct while still allowing them to excel in their own way, and figuring out what exactly brings that out. You know, the wisdom and the over time, the experience that teaches you, this is when I bend and this is when I stay firm. And just learning that over the last 10 years or so has been really fun for me. I was really blessed to have a mom that knew what she was doing, and she didn't train for the public, but she always had good horses of ours, and she made sure that I knew what it took to make a good horse, and she let me participate in that. And that's not always feasible for every family when you have kids and you're trying to keep them safe and everything, but she always made sure that I had access to getting on the young horses and let me make mistakes, and knew that, you know, when they were in a good point where I could make a mistake and it wasn't going to hurt their future, you know, something she could fix, really. And so I got to just experience that part of it. And I think that helped me a lot from a young age in my development process as a rider and as a trainer for something I wanted to do, to show me what was right and what was wrong. And so I've got to ride a lot of good horses. Had several that I've got to be hands-on with that we've sold and gone on to new places. I did compete in all the events growing up, so I'm real big on horses knowing how to do everything. I like them to be well-rounded because I understand, like, a lot of horses are not going to be 1D winners, especially the ones that I bought early on because they were cheap. And, you know, the first couple 2-year-olds we were buying we hope they make it, but we're going to stay in a reasonable value. So I wanted them to be well-rounded horses where they could go on to be a kid's horse or a youth rodeo horse, college rodeo level, even if they didn't necessarily make that pro rodeo 1D winner. And then if we had one come along that was, you know, the kind that had the caliber potential to compete at a futurity and, you know, make it worth entering and showing up, then we would go. And so it's let me dabble in that while I was also going to rodeos and such. And so yeah, sister was really the first one that we felt like she can compete, you know, and go to those. And then we had Corona Share of Fame, who's by Lion Share of Fame, and Viva La Corona, and we purchased her at the BFA sale. And those two mares, and Viva La Corona is by Heart of the Cartel. Those two mares are 7 now. And Nala, the Lion Share of Fame, I futuritied her a little bit at 4, and she had some futurity earnings, and she had some big oopses, but she did great. Had some successful Derby years. She's gone on to place at pro rodeos. Then Viva, we held her till she was 5, and same thing, had a lot of success at the futurities, a little more hit or miss, but really when she hit, she was very talented. And so that was exciting too. Same thing, my mom gets along with her great, so she runs her most of the time, and she's still in her last Derby year right now. Which, by the way, love the movement of derbies lately of going to 8 years old. Oh, that's going to be so awesome because I love having the chance to run those older horses just another year. So yeah, that's been really exciting. Like I said, I've spent a lot of time in the summers up north traveling to the rodeos, so I got to go to those northern fun futurities later in the summer, like the Barrel of Gold at Celicia, the Fizz Bomb, and, hang out at those, the Roper Rally, was it Dash and Dance at Spearfish? I think that might be the first time I met you guys. And yeah, so stuff like that. It's been fun to kind of be able to whip in and, okay, I'm going to run my horse that fits in an aged event and then be able to get back to my regular schedule. So yeah, those two mares are a good example because everything I've had they're mine, and my mom and I, we partner on them, most of them, so they have to make horses because there's no option otherwise. So they may be on different, tracks and stuff, but they're going to make a horse, and our goal is always, hit the 1D sometime and be able to earn checks at pro rodeos. And to do that on both of those mares has been really special and fun. And then, I had that one great mare, Josie, and bred her, so getting to race some. Scooter is my second home-raised colt. His older brother, Little Joe, is my first home-raised that I've got to be there for the entire process, the hitting the ground and the starting the 2-year-olds and training them and entering them for the first time, and just kind of learning about all their different, like what their schedule is going to be like. They may not all make a futurity horse. When they do, it's really exciting because, you know, you have the chance at so much big money. But since they are mine, once again, I'm not going to get too wrapped up in it, just because I just want to make dang sure they make a horse. And so that's kind of just my goal with them. But yeah, those are some nice horses, and I still have all those. They've been really great. I've got a couple 2-year-olds. I've got a Firewater Canyon 2-year-old I really like. I've got 2 full siblings to sister, and one of them is 2. One's a yearling stud prospect, and then I've got another 2-year-old. I can't remember what she is. But, yeah, so lots of different ones. I've got a Feel the Sting on the way. So a little gap there between some fun ones, but it's exciting. I've got ones to run right now. So I guess all ends of the spectrum, really. But, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.